Hi and welcome. Well, you know who I am, Penny Dix, astrologer, and you're all going to think it's Sunday, but of course it's not. And then we get a nice surprise when we wake up tomorrow morning and discover it's only Saturday and not Monday. But hello, everybody. We have quite a good selection of people here already. We've got Christine, Amac, Simi. Welcome, all of you. And of course, we are actually experiencing now a transit that hasn't happened for several thousand years. I believe it did happen, I think it's 4,000 several hundred years ago, because I was listening to Steve Judd this morning, and I think he was saying that it was a student of his had actually done the research and found that it was 4,000 or so years ago. So Saturn Neptune conjunct at 0 degrees of Aries, and as we speak they actually are exact 0 degrees and 45 minutes. Here we are. Well, not much has been going on, has it? I think this will be quite a short video because there's not really much to talk about, is there? Hello, who else is here? Samantha, hello. Ness Poetry, good to see you. Shirley, Jim, good morning. You're a former space cadet. I don't know what I am. I'm an astrologer. That was it. I knew there was something. But Saturn, Neptune, and we're already beginning to see that there are things unfolding that may be part of the bigger picture. And I think, hi Poonam, and I think as time goes on, we are going to see, as we get distance on this particular period of time, we're going to see what this was all about. And I would suggest that when astrologers have the same conjunction, maybe in, say, 36 years' time, when Saturn and Neptune meet again, not in Aries, but they will meet. And don't ask me to work out where it is because I can't. But they will probably say, oh, do you remember 2025, 2026? That's when all that evidence came out about the Epstein files. And, you know, I think that will be one of the big events that is going to start to unravel, dissolve, clarity. Saturn is going to bring in, my feeling is it'll bring in the rules and the regulations that this kind of activity that has been operating at a massive scale and among the rich and powerful cannot be allowed to continue. And I think this is the time we start to see the beginning of the end of that. I hope. And I know many of you will know that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew, was arrested yesterday. He's been set free, no charges. And actually, even though it was the Epstein files that have landed him in this situation, it is not about the young girls and potential abuse or sexual misconduct. It's actually about his role as a public figure going around other countries, representing the United Kingdom, and potentially leaking, allegedly leaking important information to the likes of Epstein. And Peter Mandelson, Lord Peter Mandelson, is involved in all of this too. Yes, Jim, I hope you're right. And I hope it's going to start unfolding also in the United States, and that people will be held accountable, because at the moment it feels as if it's only the UK that is doing their duty and saying, right, this one, this one, this one, we need to look at what they're doing. So I did actually get Andrew's chart up because it is quite interesting. And of course, yesterday when he was arrested, it was his birthday. And not that we were meant to feel sorry for him, but of all days, it was his birthday. And of course, Saturn, he's actually a Leo ascendant. His degree is 11 degrees Leo. So he has an Aries midheaven. He's a Pisces sun at 0 degrees, and his moon is in Scorpio in the 4th house. He's 66. And his solar return, which I haven't done as yet, I think will be very interesting, because this arrest actually on his solar return is setting the tone for what he can expect to unfold in the coming year. And he has yet to experience Pluto moving onto his descendant, because Pluto is still only at 4 degrees, which will dramatically affect his public image, because it is opposite the ascendant, which is where we're going to see him. But the Saturn Neptune is happening in his 9th house. And I think the fact that this arrest happened yesterday, literally, hours before Saturn Neptune was conjunct, I think the timing is extraordinary, because it's almost the first major arrest that has been made with regard to the Epstein files. And that's why I wonder if the Saturn Neptune is the trigger on that world axis point for this whole house of cards to come crumbling down. I think it'll take a long time, though. And that's Saturn. And you could say that Neptune is the illusion and the deceit and the confusion. And Saturn is the slowness and the taking of time, that these things take time. And interestingly, at the moment, as I look at the current transits, the moon in Aries has just gone over this Saturn Neptune point. For Andrew, formerly known as Prince, it's in his 9th house. Well, this can be legal, courts, law, anything official of that nature. So, he's really going to be, he's brought under the spotlight. And that's how it's manifesting for him. Now, if you want to know, because I am going to go through this a bit with you, which part of your life is being triggered by the Saturn Neptune, remember that when I did the zodiac sign video a few days ago for the for the new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius, in those readings, which are time-stamped, I also talked about how Saturn and Neptune would affect. So it's there if you want to find out. Right, let's have a look and let's see who is what's going on here. Yes, Simi, I think that's a nice way to put it. Dominoes are starting to fall. And Simi's also saying peace, calm around the corner. I think so. Jim, leaders from Norway, Sweden, France being called into account. Yes, that's true. Norway certainly has been in the news. Christine saying possibly arriving prematurely. There is a time of connecting. Kelly, wow, that is Frome tone set. I'm not quite sure what you're saying there, my love. Poonam, you're just having a little chat about everything being okay. That's great. And hello, Blue Heart. You don't understand how Saturn and Neptune conjunct in the ninth house could cause an arrest. It's the house of truth, legalities, and lawyers. If you go to court, it's something to do with the ninth house. So that's why it's interesting that it's in his ninth house. Now, remember, the ninth house has many other meanings. For instance, travel, long distance travel, anything to do with things being overseas. I also have this Saturn Neptune conjunction in my ninth house because I'm also a Leo ascendant. As far as I know, I've not done anything that I'm going to be arrested for, unless it's what I talk about on YouTube. But how I feel it is manifesting for me is my choice to literally move myself from the island of Gozo and Malta back to the UK, which is happening this year. And so I do feel that Saturn Neptune for me is about that move. So you see, within each life area, there are many facets of how this can manifest. It's so personal to what's going on in one's own chart. Remember, the ninth house is also about publishing. Maybe a book's going to come out all about what is happening now. I'm sure there'll be many books coming out. Let me see what you're all saying. Speaking from experience, this is Robert Johann. Even though Pluto has not yet reached his descendant, the effects of it are already manifesting for the former prince. Yes, I think that's a very good point, because it's at 4 degrees transiting Pluto, and his descendant is at 11 degrees. So it's wide, but it's there. And Elaine, you're saying Norway arrested their former prime minister for the files a few days ago. So it is happening on some level at least. That's good. And I'm sure we're all the same. We would like to see it where it needs to happen, at the top. But I guess you've got to go through the various stages before you could actually get to the top. And I just think, and I do have to talk about it because I do. But when our dear friend, who is the President of the United States, was questioned about Andrew on one of his Air Force One flights, he made such a big point of saying, I'm completely exonerated. I mean, it's just clear. I'm just absolutely not in them, and it's nothing to do with me. And, I'm exonerated. He kept you. And I thought, methinks the man protests too much. So I just throw that in because he's a Leo ascendant as well. It'll catch up with him. And I think then that this Saturn Neptune is actually in his 8th house, but I'll have to check that. I haven't got his chart in front of me. So I think for Andrew, I think with the eclipse that happened in Aquarius earlier this week, I would actually be a little bit concerned because his moon is in Scorpio natally. I'd be a little bit concerned about his mental health. Not that I'm feeling sorry for him, but I would actually say he's potentially at risk of doing harm to himself. And if some of you have seen the photograph that has been doing the rounds on social media and the press of him leaving the police station in the back of a police car, it was the most extraordinary photograph. It was like, my God, the chickens have come home to roost. He was like the rabbit startled in car headlights. He was absolutely broken by this. I'm not defending him, or I'm just making an observation. Blue Heart, are you correct that 6th, 9th, and 12th are related to legal and court matters. I know the 9th is. I'm not actually sure about the 6th and the 12th. I've never really thought about that. I think that the 12th, of course, can be imprisonment. So yes, that could resonate, but I'd have to look it up. Kelly, Andrew looks like he's not coping well. No, he doesn't, does he? Elaine, you're happy for me and my babies. Yes, I got them all to the vet. Yippee! They're okay. And my big move this year. Yes, I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you. So I'm not going to spend too much time on Andrew. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is find President Trump's chart. It won't take me long because I know where it is. It's down here somewhere. Because I'd just like to see where this is falling in his chart. Right, I was right. It's in the 8th house. So the 8th house, beginnings, endings, sex, death. It's, remember, in the zodiac wheel, it's a Scorpio ruled house. It's a Pluto ruled house. And this can be, I think this could be revelations. Yeah. I think, you know, I think for everyone, depending on their life experiences, because obviously there are millions of us that will have this transit in our 8th house, our 9th house, our 10th house, or 11th house. That's why it's important not to get these things out of context. We are highlighting people in the public eye who have that there is stuff going on for them which we are following, and so it seems to be that this transit is triggering off these particular issues and problems they have. Now, you know, John Smith down the road, you know, who has it in his 8th house, he may just be going through some enlightening experience and making sense of dreams and sort of ideas that he's had, and wanting to put some concrete roots down about them, actually identifying what his thoughts and dreams are about, because the 8th house can be that transformation. It has that transformational aspect. So I think it's important to be aware of that, to just keep it in context. I mean, for Donald Trump, you know, he's coming up to his Mars opposition, because Mars in Aquarius is coming up to basically sit on his descendant and oppose his natal Mars that's on his ascendant. Now, what does this mean? Well, Mars is that tension, that anger, that rage. There is something here for him. Now, bearing in mind that the 7th house can also mean open enemies, people that want to bring him down, this could see a flashpoint for him over the next week where his rage and his anger may get the better of him and cause him to have to just take time out. That could be a manifestation of this, because we know not only the Epstein files and everything that's going on around that, but of course the Supreme Court, or I probably got which court it is wrong, but anyway, whichever it is, the Court of Justice or the Supreme Court have voted against his worldwide tariffs. He will not be a happy bunny. The rest of the world will be going, yes, but he will not be a happy bunny. And I like your symbol there, Jim, of the tortoise or the turtle, you know, and as my lovely technical person that comes to my rescue every now and then, Jerry says, slow and steady wins the race. And, you know, if we are going to smoke out all the perpetrators of these crimes, it's going to take time. These are not things that get resolved quickly. You know, the law takes time, and the investigative work done by various police forces, whether it's FBI or the police in the United Kingdom or any other country in the world, come to that, they are meticulous and they take their time. Hello, Liz. Good to see you here. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how over the next few months and year or 2 years, we will be able to look back and think, this is what Saturn Neptune was about for me, or for you, or for the Epstein files. But I think they will be I feel as if they are a headline because they're around today. They are a headline. But I do also think, and we mustn't forget, that there's a huge military buildup in the Middle East. And I know that the UK said no to Trump to do some strikes on Iran. But, you know, I think that is probably imminent. You don't move that amount of hardware to one location and then not use it. So I think we're going to see that. I did think it would be last night or today. Mind you, it might be happening and we don't know. There is always that potential. Elaine, hello, Tiffany. Nice to see you here. How do we as humanity make sure to stop this from happening for our children going forward, for all our sakes? Well, you know, that is a really, really valid point. And my genuine answer is I don't know, other than through education. And maybe if we can get back the balance of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and somehow teach our children, because that's what we have to do. We have to teach our boys how to respect women. And I don't know where that went wrong, or because somewhere it must have gone wrong, that these men grow up as misogynists or just with very distorted views about the feminine, about women. And so I feel it comes down to us as women, that we are the ones, in the way we bring up our children, that it's down to us, but it's got to be all of us. And yeah, Liz, that the family has broken down. And you know, there was a sort of a thing on Sky News a couple of days ago talking about boys who in school who have no father image at home because father left home when they were a year old. So these boys that grow up without a father figure, and how tough that is for them. Because, you know, mother might have boyfriends coming in and out, so they get different types of male energy coming in and out of the house. And it's just somewhere we have to, I don't know, women have to take responsibility to ensure that we create a stable family unit, I guess. I don't know. If you've got any ideas, please let me know, because it is something we need to somehow change. And I think the trouble is you're always going to have people that are driven by power and money, people who will take advantage of the weak and of the naive. So, it's, I think this is the problem, that I don't know if there is a utopian place where abuse in some form or other does not take place. I think we have to be realistic here. What we need to do is this particular one that is fully coming into the light, we have to deconstruct it with Saturn's deliberation, to deconstruct it, to fight the perpetrators, that Martian energy in Aries. We have to break it down so that we don't have it for many, many years. But new things will pop up, because they do. Let me see what you're saying. Jim, Trump always says 2 weeks and usually does little. Yeah, that's true. Essence of Joy, they need a very good father figure. Yes, girls as well as boys. Children need good role models. They need good fathers and they need good mothers. And this is where, as adults growing up before we have children, we have to really think about how we take care of ourselves and how we learn about ourselves, our own personal growth and self-development. Because if we know each other well, then it makes it much easier with that awareness to manage the highs and lows and difficulties of everything that gets thrown at us in life. And then you've got all the added problems of people with low incomes and lack of money, or people with addiction problems and alcohol. There's no end to it. There's no easy, quick fix. But I do think we're going to see, I know that I think Trump and the sort of, the Kristi Nomes and Pam Bondis are hoping this is all going to be yesterday's story. It's not. It's not. And, if Andrew could do one thing to make amends, he should spill some beans. Once he spills the beans into the sort of the public arena in law, they can do something about it. Let me see what is being said here. Okay. Janice, hello, Janice. The rich and powerful and what they get away with. That's the problem, because people, narcissism. How do we get, you can't just have a society with none of these faults and ways of behaving. So, so Poonam, as a mother of 2 boys, it's very important for you that they learn to respect women and be the opposite of all that we and your culture has been taught. I think that's admirable. I think that's brilliant. And Christine, observe your situation with motherly compassion. Absolutely. Liz, you sad to miss the last couple of Sundays. We missed you too, Liz. We missed you. Poonam, narcissism has gone unchecked for far too long. Absolutely. Simi, we call it education. The others call it brainwashing. I know. You see what we're up against. And this is where organized religions have not helped, because they are male dominated, present company accepted, because I do know that you guys out there that join these lives absolutely get where I'm coming from and what I'm talking about. Elaine, from you to the powers that be, please. Thank you for tackling the issue. I know it's big just to ask your viewers. Thank you for sharing. You're very welcome. Yeah, we have to. We have to. We have all we can do. Each and every one of us is put our intent out there and see if we can do. It's like, okay, my intent and my offerings through my videos on YouTube are my contribution to hopefully helping people think, become aware, question, reflect, look within, and look at things with different eyes. If I can do just that, and whether that's in an individual session when you come and see me for your astrology sessions, or whether it's through the videos, it's this is where this is a great platform for just me doing my little bit, because every little bit works. The problem is there are also, of course, people out there that put out a distorted image. And I think you know me well enough to know that I do my best to keep things balanced and equal and fair, and try and see all sides of a situation and the bigger picture. Okay, so Shirley, that's exactly what I do. Thank you, Shirley. AMAC, narcissists change the rules to suit them, or they just totally ignore them. They need firm boundaries with consequences, absolutely. Christine, that I may serve you too comes to mind. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Shirley, intention is everything. Liz, try to avoid letting them make you fearful. Very good point. And Blue Heart, you've lost faith in the system and the laws of the world, as injustice has spread on a wide scale. It certainly has. Jim, Penny's house of chop and carry is a place of resonant intent. I love you, Jim. That's brilliant. See me, Penny, we follow you because you are well-rounded, just like us. Oh, I didn't know it showed. No, I'm only joking. No, thank you. Yes, I mean, this is what I do, because I don't think bias is helpful. So, and I will listen to conspiracy theories because there may be a truth within them. But I think it's also what we have to always do, all of us, with everything, is just say, where is my evidence? And I learned that from doing cognitive behavioral work. Because when you do cognitive behavioral therapy, you have to look for what we call distorted thoughts, the what ifs, the shoulds, the catastrophizing, the polarization. And then you have to look at, where's my evidence? And by finding the evidence, you break down the anxiety about, what if everyone gets away with it? Do you see what I mean? So we could say, what if no one gets caught to do with the Epstein files? And then we say, well, let's look at our evidence. It'll take time. There are millions of documents to go through. And I think there are hopefully enough people in the position that they can go through these files, to go through them meticulously. We need lots of Virgo people, because they're good at meticulously going through these tomes and tomes of, the files and the emails. And I think that, it's also about saying, look, we've already got some evidence. So even though it's going to take time, the royal family in Norway have been affected, and the Prime Minister, I think you said earlier, in Norway has been arrested. Peter Mandelson in the UK has been stripped of all his privileges, and Andrew, formerly known as Prince, has been stripped of all his privileges and arrested. So I think it's about time. And that's why Saturn is here. Saturn is about timing. It's always about timing. And let me see what you'll say. My chop and carry. The truth is coming out, Liz, and more people are waking up. I think so. And I think people are becoming more discerning and recognizing that we can't necessarily always believe what we see on social media. We have to go to reputable news sources, and we have to look for our evidence and do our research. It's so important. Hello, Fabrizio Schweitzer. Did I say your name right? Lovely to see you here. Kelly, women are marrying. Okay. And Christine, the House of Chop and Carry. It beats House of the Rising Sun. Oh, bless you all. You are wonderful. You do realize, as I said earlier, we're all going to think tomorrow's Monday, because here we are on a early, evening, or for me, it's an evening slot. And but it's Saturday tomorrow, so we're okay. So, Jim, you agree with Liz. We start by telling the truth to ourselves. Yes. And it's like a conversation I had with all of you going back probably 2 or 3 months ago, where I was saying that I remember, because I was talking about growing up in the 80s, and how one colluded with men. And I've talked about this with Jim. We've discussed it, because women, when we were growing up in the 70s and the 80s, men behaved differently towards women, and there was a sense of collusion. Or if a man made a pass at me, I didn't scream rape. I just thought, oh, he's a bit putting it on a bit, but hopefully I can kind of deflect him. And so I think there's such a big area here, because also I've talked to some people, men that don't particularly listen to any of this, so they're not really aware of all my views, who have said that, oh, don't these, you're going to get really angry now, I can tell you, because don't these women ask for it? And I pointed out very carefully the courage that it's taken the survivors to talk about their experience. And I pointed out to this particular person that in how women were in the 70s and 80s, and it was different, but it's not like that. And also that the problem is that Parry's here. Hello, Parry. And I think that the abuse goes both ways, because it really has been very interesting for me to find out from contemporaries, men who are the same age as me, that I've known for a long, long time, who just didn't see it in the way that is being portrayed. So they said, well, these women obviously, they colluded with it, they asked for it and all the rest of it. And I was saying, but then you're not listening, because these women, these survivors, are at risk. They have been threatened. If they tell, they will lose their life and the lives of their families. And when I've said this to 1 or 2 people that I've talked about this subject to, they then stand back aghast and go, but I didn't know this. So I said, well, you didn't do the research. You have to do the research. We can't just generalize and say, all these women were, colluded with it. I think the problem is it gets very mixed up with, if I'd been in that circle and someone said, come to my, desert island, champagne, swimming pool, lots of lovely parties, interesting, rich men, I think, oh, wow, fantastic. And then you get there and then you find out the truth. So let me see whether you're making any comments. Say, yes, Elaine, what a horrible thing to hear another human say to anyone. But it's not because it's due to ignorance. It's lack of knowledge and not listening and making a general assumption. And see me, respect, 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 not just for one gender, but for everyone. For those that deserve it, others get educated on it. Absolutely. And yes, welcome, Parry. And Poonam, then again, it's something I've heard a lot whenever I talk to the elders and even my peers in India. It's still shocking. This is a mentality that continues. You do your best to educate my boys. Do you mean, Poonam, that there is that view of women in your culture that, well, if something bad happens to a woman, she's invited it? They were entrapped, absolutely. Hello, Tracy. Good to see you. Yeah, it's a really difficult subject, Tracy. It's hi, Jim. Many entrapped by shared acceptance of beliefs. Yes, and the thing is, and this is what's not so widely understood or known, is that boys were too. Men also, young boys were also caught into this web. And that, I think, when I told this friend of mine, who just really wasn't thinking about it in a logical way, he was very shocked. It was like, boys? What you mean? I said, yes, because men and women, absolutely. I'm just seeing Mary Thornbury. There are over 1,000 witnesses, victims, survivors. They are not lying, but no one seems to be listening now or in the past. Like they all say, follow the money. Absolutely. It's still in your culture, Poonam. And you see it's still very much, I think, also in European culture and probably American culture. I think we've still got a long way to go. You see it in the sense that I think still in many countries, women, a man and a woman doing the same job, the man gets paid more than the woman, and yet they're doing exactly the same job. Oh no, he's a man. He's got a family to support. What about the woman? She's got a family to support as well. Tracy, the underground corruption is leaking to the surface. Fog lifts with Saturn to the rescue. Love it. Christine, yes, the public schools. Let me see. Fabrio, unfortunately, sexism affects both men and women. Absolutely, it does. And I think it's important to remember that. And that's why I think that this Saturn-Neptune conjunction will go down as the trigger that brings this whole system crashing to the ground, or at least I really hope so. I really hope so. I think it can, but I think it will take time. When in 1989, when we had the dissolution of the Soviet Union, that took time. And the Berlin Wall coming down, these things take time. And so, these things will take time. And I think we have to be patient with the process of law. And I think if we can see that process in the United States changing a bit away from backhanders, collusion, whatever else might be going on behind closed doors, to honesty and recognizing that it has to stop, then maybe we have a chance of it collapsing. So this is also the other thing, of course, we've got to remember is Uranus, our planet of shocks and the unexpected, is conjunct the fixed star Algol in Taurus. Algol is the fixed star that represents basically having your head cut off or leaders losing their positions. So it's interesting that, of course, Uranus is conjunct Algol when Andrew is arrested. And of course, 300, 400 years ago, Andrew would have been taken to the Tower of London. He would have had a trial and he would have been beheaded. And the last royal that happened to was King Charles I back in 1643 or something. And so, if these things have happened before. And I think this is, it's going to be a very difficult process for the whole of the British royal family to come to terms with, because, it's shaking their whole foundation. And it may be that the next generations of the royal family get quite trimmed down and that it becomes even less important. Although the thing is, it's a brand and it's a tourist attraction brand. So maybe it'll survive in some form or other. Annabelle, hello. You just got in from work and it's raining in London. Oh, lovely. Getting me ready for when I come over there. Hello, Imaguari. Why do people tend to romanticize even the difficult qualities of Saturn, yet criticize or distrust the positive traits of Neptune? That's a very, very, very good point, because Neptune does have positive qualities, because it can be about the discovery of new medicines and vaccines and all manner of things like that. And Saturn could say, after many years of working on a particular cure, with it joining up with Neptune in Aries, it brings about the solution, and a new medicine is born. So that's a very good point to have brought in, because Neptune isn't bad. Neptune is also our intuition and our psychic senses. It's just that sometimes it can be a bit lost. Saturn, I think, is dispelling that mist and fog of illusion and helping us with clarity see truths. So I feel that Saturn is helping us see the truth, and that is probably resonates with the other events that have happened over the last few hundred years when these two met. Because, if we think about the dissolution of the Soviet Union and the bringing down of the Berlin Wall, this was about making a dream into a reality. They didn't want that wall there anymore. Liz, yes, we need to go back to nature for medicine. And it may go full circle, Liz. It may be that we start seeing far more natural products getting accredited, let's put it that way, rather than, the chemically made ones. Let me see. I'm losing. Yes, good old Uncle King Charles I lost his head. Oh, is your maternal side a Tudor? Oh my God, that's amazing. Oh my God, my condolences to your great, 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 great ancestor, Anne Boleyn, for losing her head. And unfortunately, we don't have a time of birth or a date of birth even for her. We don't even know what year, because it would have been wonderful to do a chart for her. So listen, time is marching on, and as usual, I'm not going to keep this going on for too long, but I do think that, you know, we have to think about also the last time Saturn was in Aries, which was in 1996 and 1999. It's independence, leadership, responsibility, and going back to Uranus and Algol, that may not be the only leadership change that we see. I know Andrew isn't a leader, but he was a prince of the realm, and he's had that taken away from him. So we may yet see other leaders over the next few weeks, few months, lose their role. Now, the South Korean, I think he's a president, or prime minister, who was in court for crimes against the country, basically, has been found guilty, but he's been sentenced to life imprisonment. So there's another one. Same time, Saturn Neptune losing his leadership. So it's a little Annabelle. Do I have Andrew's birth chart? Is there anything in it suggesting why he has behaved the way he has? At the beginning of this video, I'd go into Andrew's chart. So I'm not going to go into it, but I would say I think that moon in Scorpio for him is quite a difficult placement, because he's had Uranus opposite that. And that's really when all the chickens came home to roost. So Uranus is going to do one last kind of before it leaves Taurus, I think. So we haven't seen the end of this. Ness, going back to Saturn and Neptune, I think it will take us all back to our truth of who we are, our original self. I think that's a lovely way of looking at it. I think that's wonderful. Hello, Manuela from Munich. You've got snow. Oh, wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. We've got thunderstorms today. Not so nice. So let's just see if there's anything else that I want to talk about, because let's see, before I lose my my thread. I'm in danger of losing my thread here. Ness perfectly said, and she said, and I've lost it already. Oh dear, yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes, Jim, got you. What she was saying about going back to our truth. I think it is. I think it is. And, you know, just to run through very quickly what each house represents, so that if you know the area of your natal chart that has this Saturn-Neptune conjunction, so remember, you've got to find Aries in your chart and 0 degrees, and that will tell you, because the first house is about redefinition of the identity, and it's being very realistic. So it's that sobering recognition of this is really how it is, and letting go of false courage and embodying authority in a very steady and quiet way. Whereas if it's the second house, this is a reality check around money, survival, and self-worth. You know, old financial ideals can dissolve. New priorities come into the sort of equation. And it can be about building material security on truth, not fantasy. Now, the third house, end of illusion in thinking, because this is communication, media, or local narratives. Serious conversations replace slogans. Responsibility for words, truth, and mental discipline. Fourth house, ancestral myths to do with family, home. They dissolve. Emotional foundations are restructured. It redefines what home is and safety, what that means. Where do I really feel I am home? Facing family realities without escaping the truth. The fifth house, collapse of romantic ideals or creative illusions, because creativity then can become more purposeful, disciplined, and meaningful. And children, love or joy demand maturity and presence. Now, the sixth house is health realities can no longer be ignored. Do not be a martyr by overgiving too much service to others. Service can become more grounded, sustainable, and ethical. And then if we go into the seventh house, idealized relationships tested by reality. Projections fall away. Commitment becomes clearer or ends. New forms of partnership based on honesty, not rescue. Now, the eighth house, this is where Donald Trump is having this Saturn Neptune conjunction. Deep psychological purging of fear, dependency, illusion. Shared finances and trust issues need to be clarified. And spiritual courage can be born from facing mortality and truth. Now, the ninth house, which is where Andrew has this Saturn Neptune, collapse of belief systems that can't survive scrutiny. This is about truth, new philosophies forged through lived experience. Teachers lose authority unless they teach truth. So interesting stuff. And the 10th house is about your public role, your career, your ideals get tested severely. End of false authority figures. And leadership must be earned through integrity. The 11th house is about group ideals dissolve. Causes are purified. Old alliances fall away. New collective visions begin. They may be smaller, but they're truer and they're braver. And then finally, we have the 12th house, which is long karmic clearing. End of unconscious sacrifice patterns. Spiritual realism replaces spiritual bypassing. So, Saturn represents reality, responsibility, consequence. Neptune represents ideals, faith, dreams, and illusions. When they meet, illusions are tested. When they meet in Aries, the sign of action and survival, those tests are no longer theoretical, they are lived. And, the last time Neptune was in Aries, the world was gripped by wars, fought in the name of belief and identity. The American Civil War happened. It started the day that Neptune moved into Aries. It's the end of romanticized heroism and false saviors. It's the beginning of sober courage, the kind that acts without applause, the kind that knows sacrifice has limits. Individually, this conjunction shows us where we must stop pretending and start taking responsibility for our truth. And collectively, it marks the collapse of worn out myths and the birth of something raw, unpolished, but real. Saturn, Neptune in Aries doesn't promise comfort, it promises clarity and the courage to live without illusion. So there we go. So I think that is a good place. Oh, right at 7 o'clock my time to bring things to a close. Let me just see. We're not going to have a story today, and we're not going to have a tarot card. We'll save those for Sunday, because Sunday, where will we be? We will see. We don't know what's going to happen. I will be back Sunday, same time, same place. And we will look at the week ahead. We've got a Mercury retrograde coming. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe. Remember, if you want to book a session with me, go to my website, pennydix.com, and send me an email. The email address is on the website, because there will be May, June, and July. Those 3 months, I will not be seeing clients. I will still do videos, but I will not be seeing clients. You're very welcome, Mary. Fabrizio, it's not about us, but up to us. It's our responsibility. Hear, hear. Clarity and courage is us. Christine, lovely. Blue Heart, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Let me see. Parry, living with learning and creativity is a very interesting adventure of discovering new perspectives on the many aspects of our history of sustainability in healthcare in simplicity and observing. So that's a lovely word, a phrase, Annabelle. No more worshipping false idols. I will second that. Imagari, Saturn and Neptune is also dreams made true for everyone. Well, it's making dreams into a reality, but recognizing the dreams that are realistic, because I don't think Saturn will create an unrealistic scenario. So, hello, sunshine. You're optimistic, but feel a bit of anxiety. Oh, sweetie, maybe that anxiety is anticipation, excitement, hope. And Jim, you're saying yes to Annabelle. Fantastic. And listen, guys, thank you so much for being here. You are, as usual, all absolutely awesome. Oh, let me just check exactly where the degree is of the Saturn Neptune. I just want to have a quick check before we go. So transits, and they are still at exactly 0 degrees and 45 minutes of Aries. Whoa, I love it. This is interesting, but Saturn is now in the chart the other side of Neptune. So it's already been really, really up close and personal with Neptune, and it's just moving past. So we will see what we will see. But listen, guys, have a great weekend. I will see you on Sunday. Rebecca, you're very welcome. And Annabelle, you're also very welcome. Much gratitude to all of you. And Jim, lots of love to you. Enjoyed our little messenger chat last night. That was good. Oh, Simi, you've pulled the Hermit card for the weekend. Well, I think that's a bit of reflection, bit of inner reflection. And Christine, are you Aries, 0 degrees? Whoa, okay. Now you tell us. Samantha, Sunday. Yes, Sunday at the same time as this one started, which was 1800 Central European time. I do my weekly live stream for the whole week ahead. So, right, that's it, guys. I'm really going. Bye for now, and I'll see you very soon. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye.